And Mr. Speaker, in Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua, leftist dictators refuse to follow the rule of law, circumventing or ignoring completely constitutions in order to maintain their hold in power. This practice has now spread to Bolivia, where strongman Evo Morales is taking a page from this playbook. Less than 2 years ago, in 2016, Morales proposed a constitutional referendum to eliminate term limits for presidents so that he could run for a third term. But what happened in Bolivia? The majority of the people said no. They went to the ballot box and they rejected this through their vote, through a referendum. But what did Morales do? He went to the court system that he's already rigged in his favor to seek the outcome that he desired. And sure enough, the spineless cronies granted him his wish, approved this illegitimate run for a fourth term, agreeing that this was his human right. The only right is apparently that is respected in Bolivia, his human right to run for another term, ignoring completely the human rights of millions who voted to uphold their laws under their constitution. The court's decision last week to lift constitutional limits on re-election should be disturbing to all of us and should serve as a wake-up call throughout the hemisphere. If we don't pay attention to Bolivia, it will soon become another Cuba, another Venezuela, failed states. The decision to allow Morales to run for yet another term further erodes the democratic institutions in that country. Sadly, this was not the first time that Morales or his thugs have chipped away at Bolivia's democratic foundations in order to remain in power. In 2013, the Constitutional Court allowed him to run for a third term, stating that his first term didn't count. Do-over mulligan, because it occurred before the 2009 Constitution took effect. What a farce. This was obviously a cynical political ploy and should have served as a of worse things to come for Bolivia, and indeed it was. Not to mention the ruling falls outside of the court's mandate to interpret and evaluate compliance with the Constitution. Responsible nations in our hemisphere, Mr. Speaker, must not remain silent, nor should this esteemed body. We must speak out in support of the people of Bolivia to democratically elect their next leader. I urge my colleagues to join me in support of the Bolivian people before there's another crisis of democracy right in our hemisphere.